told me answer my fucking question in that two paragraphs you just typed me. I'm just saying.
As you can see, on this Sunday morning, Eshaun is already bitching and moaning about something that I did months ago because he can't read the text messages. But it's all good. It is all good. We are here.
We just start.
We started already. You told us we could start 3 minutes ago, and I tried to help you out. And it was just, you were taking too long. But we here now. The four of us are here. It's a real one's birthday. Let's start with that. Happy birthday, Brandon. Brandon is back with us. And if you are on YouTube, if you are watching, you can see the solo WWE Championship belt sitting on that man's wall. We talked to him about the Rumble appearance. Hey, man, you sounded great. You look great, but that background was a little soft. He's like, I got you. Next time I come on, I promise I'm going to have something, and I'll be damned if he does not have that WWE Championship.
The production budget
finished his story
growing.
Before Cody Rhodes did. That is a shoot.
Thank you.
Eshaun,
thank you.
Rhodesia, it is Brandon's birthday. He decided to bring his birthday in with us, the TFW fan pile. How does that make y'all feel?
Privileged and honored.
This is my Make-A-Wish. Thank you for being my John Cena for my birthday.
It's too funny. And Jen Peppermint is who you're looking for, Eshaun.
Got it.
Jen Peppermint. Let's get this thing started, man. Y'all know how we get down. TFW podcast. I don't have the episode in front of me right now because the episode right now does not matter the number. We'll get you the number in a minute. What does matter is we got a lot to talk about. So let's kind of get right to it. I'm open. Wherever y'all want to start, and actually seeing it is Brandon's birthday, Brandon, we give you the distinct honor of telling us where do you want to start. We can start anywhere. You want to start with Chamber. We can start with what we think is going to be happening now that we see Chamber. We can start with AEW. The floor is yours, sir. Where would you like to go?
Let's start with Chamber. That's what's fresh in my mind. That's what went down yesterday. No matter what time you watched it, whether it was 5 a.m. or 5 p.m., that's sort of the hot story. So let's start there.
All right. So are we starting with the girls are kicking the guys' asses in these multi-people matches? Are we starting there? Because we can go all the way back to War Games at Survivor Series. Then we can talk about the Rumble. And then we can talk about what we saw at Chamber. Are we starting there? Are we starting with, is that where y'all want to go?
Yeah, let's start there. The ladies have been killing it for a calendar year, it seems like, in these PLEs.
Yep, and I talked about it on the Rumble show, like, hey, I'm going to be okay with a couple of missed spots or some clunkiness because they're going to try some things that it seems like only they're willing to try. Didn't get a chance to see who the producer was on that match. I'm sure it probably was TJ, Natty's husband, who kills it every single time. I'm not sure, but they did it again. And I was sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, I got to keep in mind this is the opening match outside of the women's tag title match that was on the pre-show. So the crowd is hotter. We're fresher by watching it, opposed to having 3 hours in and then watching the men's Chamber. And the men, they did a good job too. That match was really good. But to me, for what I was looking for, it didn't hold a candle to the women. I thought the women looked great. I thought, of course, Tiffany Stratton is her. Like,
man.
And we knew that from watching NXT. I was telling Rhodesia, like, she started hot, and then about 2 minutes in, I was like, there's somebody right now who was blown away by Tiffany Stratton. That person who doesn't really watch NXT, they've seen her, right? They know who she is if they see her on TV, but they've never seen her work. Maybe they watched that SmackDown match. Maybe they didn't. But I'm sure she made a ton of fans. So let's kind of start with Tiffany Stratton. I talked about on the last pod, Jade Cargill. Don't put Jade in that match because she's going to lose that match. And then you would have her lose a Rumble. You would have her lose a Chamber. And then she would have to get pinned or submitted. But I didn't feel the same way about Tiffany Stratton. Tell me your guys' thoughts on, I guess you could say her, PLE debut on WWE. What you guys thought, and then how did you feel about her not winning it when it was her debut?
You got to think about the company she's with. She's just not going to win it, and that's not the story. This is to set the stage for Mania. Tiffy is it. She's her. She's swantoning off the top of the Chamber. Think about that. This is her first PLE to the main card, and she's able to have the confidence to be able to do that and hit it quite well. Like, if she had nerves, you couldn't tell because she channeled all those nerves and just performed. Overall, I'm really excited. I wanted her to come up sooner, but here she is now. When you look at her music is still a little bit off to me. I give it a few more times, probably her entrance song. Maybe I'll start gravitating to it a little bit more. But when she comes out, the music doesn't even matter at this point. Once she comes out, you're like, your eyes are on her. A beautiful blonde bombshell.
Yeah, I thought she looked incredible. She got a huge pop. I mean, I don't know if you guys recall when she got eliminated, the crowd was going nuts. Like, they were pissed. She had a big following. And I feel like she's going to get a huge push, like really early on in her main roster debut, because, I mean, she came out and looked good. I think it was the SmackDown episode this past week or the previous week. She got a win. They made her look great.
Yeah, it was last Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
They made her look great in the PLE. She had some big spots. I thought she looked great. One of my first notes was she has that it factor. When she comes out, she's a star. And I didn't watch her a whole lot of NXT, but what I liked about her entrance was like those cameras flashing. I think they should still do that for her on the main roster. But I thought she killed it.
I agree.
And I think, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later as we talk about the road to WrestleMania, but she might have a feud brewing with Naomi based on some of their interaction. But I thought she was great. Nothing for you.
I thought it was a really good match. I was kind of, I don't know if I was surprised with the Tiffy strat, like cheers and boos, right? Because like they were cheering everything she did, and they was booing everything that people were doing against her, as Brandon said. I didn't really expect that, like not this quickly, because she hasn't been on the main roster that long for the fans to take to her like that, like a whole country. But it was really cool to see. Like Tiffy definitely does have a bright future. We've been saying that for a long time. If you've been watching NXT, we know she has all the tools to be a top star. She reminds me of a lot of a Charlotte in a lot of ways, just a smaller version of her. But there's a slight difference to her that I think to make her really unique. So look forward to see what she does. The match is overall was really, really good. No surprises on the finish, right?
No.
None.
No. I don't think
there was
so.
one surprise at all on the whole show.
Which is okay. You brought up last time, like it's okay for us to be able to know what's going to happen and be predictable if it's the right call. And to me, that was what Elimination Chamber was. I think if we probably went back, we were 100% on who we thought was winning. And that's probably the first time that's happened, because that's the only thing that would have made sense. Right? Like, even I had told Rhodesia during the opener, I'm like, Liv is going to eliminate Bianca. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, because she needs a big spot. She needs a big pinfall. She's not going to win, but she needs a big pinfall, and she rolled up Bianca. I do think there was some talk online, and I'm going to start taking online with a grain of salt. So I didn't get a chance to watch until late. Of course, ripping and running, being back in Michigan. So we didn't start till like 5:30. So we didn't finish till like 8. The first more than a handful of tweets. So I'm done with the show. We're done with the show. I'm like, okay, that was a fun show. Like, that was a really good show. I hit Twitter, and all I saw was complaining, bitching and moaning. The show was 4.5 hour runtime with an hour and 50 minutes of wrestling, and there was only 56 minutes of wrestling time from some match to another match. And why is this person getting eliminated? What are they going to do? It was just so much negativity. I was like, you know what? All right. Okay, I kind of see like what this is. You just aren't going to be happy. I'm not saying, no, this wasn't a blowaway show. Wasn't going to be a show of the year. But I would assume the majority of people that watch this show, by the time credits rolled and Rhea's throwing that belt up, you're like, that was fun. And then you move on. That is what this show is.
All these people are United States crybabies. We got the Cody crybabies. We got United States crybabies. For how many shows, PLEs, pay-per-views, all around the world, all around the calendar, we get our United States 6, 7, 8 o'clock start time. Finally, it's somewhere else where now we have to be inconvenienced as USA people. And they complaining because, again, like I said, we had the privilege or the luxury of watching it at a regular time that we're used to watching wrestling, or during the day while we're awake. That was a great show. The No Way Out Elimination Chamber, usually it's a complete throwaway show. I was so entertained in all the matches. You're telling me that because you had to stay up or you had to wake up early, then guess what? Then you weren't that much of a diehard fan. If you were, just be like us and watch it 5 hours later.
Bingo.
No one told you to stay up. In Europe, they are always watching it at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, our shows.
And shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all because I couldn't. It helps that now they're on Saturdays, but could you imagine?
Yeah.
No, man.
Hey, Matt, Rhodesia, I gotta be honest with y'all, man. Look, if y'all up at whatever time y'all was up watching that show for complaining, y'all a bunch of nerds need to shut the hell up. I'm not getting my ass up at no 12, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to watch shit. Like, I get my ass to sleep, goddammit. I got other shit to do besides get up at the butt crack of dawn. And at this point, if you're gonna commit to do that, then you should love the damn show. You should be prepared to love it because there was no way impossible that you didn't see any of these finishes happening. They wrote the story and you saw it finish. You should have loved it because that's what you that's what you woke up for, to see those finishes. Right. They didn't tell you those was going to be a swerve or none of that. They told you what was going to happen start to finish. So if you got up that early and you complaining, you a nerd, shut the hell up, go kick some rocks and go touch some grass. Relax.
I did think it was funny. I guess there was some talk about some surprises on the show. So Rock released a video, which I thought was very smart. So Roman did his video last week where he basically said, I'm not going to be there. Then they had Rock film one, I'm guessing behind, backstage at SmackDown. They released it a few days ago where he's basically saying he's not going to be there, but if Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes is talking crap about him, let him know so he can, slap the piss out of his mouth, all this kind of. But so they made it known that, hey, neither one are going to be there. Word comes out on Friday that there could be, or there's going to be some surprises at Chamber, but not The Rock. See, and this is why you got to, just watch it for what it is. And I wasn't online at all until the end of the show. So I get online, and then I see somebody had screen grabbed a tweet from Dave Meltzer, where somebody sent Dave Meltzer a tweet and said, hey, I thought you said there's going to be some surprises on Elimination Chamber. And he quote tweeted and said, I said there could be a surprise. And then he put could in parentheses. It's like, Dave Meltzer used to be one of the best in the industry.
Dave.
If y'all the ones that's keeping that man where he's at. Don't complain when he's wrong, because he's probably batting 1 out of 9 right now. He's great with his historical stuff. He's great with numbers and analytics. But if you're trying to ask him for backstage gossip and stuff, you're going to the wrong person.
Hey, you know what? Dave probably got that one old man that he's known for 50 years that don't really work in the company anymore. Right? And they just hear things and they just tell this old dude whatever, right? And then that old dude go tell Dave, and then Dave put it on print. That's what's happening. Right? He just getting bad information, y'all. And he old, man. I mean, y'all, Matt, Brandon, Rhodesia, did you guys see that old Triple H and Rock promo video that Dave mixed up and thought it would happen
from
yesterday?
10 years ago.
That poor man. Oh, man.
I just say he's doing his best Clarissa Thomas impersonation.
Oh, see, now why you got to do that?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Bronson Reed, he put out a tweet, which was great. So, he's Australian. Indy Hardware, they got her on the show. Of course, Rhea. Mm-hmm. So when he lost his Chamber qualifying match, people were like, whoa, okay, Bronson Reed isn't going to be on the show? Fast forward, he was actually supposed to be on the show and taking on Seth Rollins before Seth got hurt.
I saw that.
But everything happens as it does and for the best, because his wife was pregnant, and if that match would have happened, he would have missed the birth of their child because she had the baby early. So happens like it's supposed to happen. So shout out to Bronson Reed and his wife and their family. Congrats on that. I thought that was really cool though. But yeah, so the Aussies were supposed to have a good spot. You had Grayson Waller, like I said, you had Indy, kind of probably where she should be on the kickoff show, and then you had Rhea and Bronson Reed, who were going to be in high profile matches. And I actually, if you think about probably what the card was, so you would have had Seth and Bronson Reed. We all know Seth would have won. Match would have been fine, but we all know Seth would have won. Punk would have been in the Chamber. We all know Punk would have won the Chamber. Okay. The show was still going to be predictable.
Yeah.
Right? Even with the injuries. So, whatever. But yeah, y'all got to be better in terms of always being negative and stuff. One thing I guess I'll be negative about, I'll ask you guys. So are we just never going to get an LA Knight title run at this point?
Nope.
Not if AJ Styles can help it.
I really thought we were going to get LA Knight and Logan Paul at Mania. And I thought he was going to run with the U.S. title. So I didn't expect him to win the Chamber. But when I saw AJ come through, which it was a good piece of business. Cameraman, relax. Triple H, make sure they understand this is not the Kevin Dunn era anymore. those chair shots and the camera going all crazy. I thought we were done with that.
Yeah.
So we gotta leave that in the past. Please make sure.
He's matching the tone of AJ Styles. I thought he was about to pull his groin like a few times when he was slipping and moving, almost stepping on the chair. I was like, AJ, stop. We need you for Mania. Stop. Calm down.
Could be some roid rage.
And keep him. Oh,
Just saying.
they test for that though.
They do. What was your guys' thoughts about the men's chamber match and anything that stuck out to y'all from that match?
Real quick for me, I just missed kind of the first part and a little bit of the middle half. But from what it sounds like, because I heard the first part, but when I actually watched it, it sounded like it picked up toward the end. And I thought it was good. I love the surprises you called out when that chamber was still open. Someone's about to come in. So I love the fact that you have such a great wrestler mind. Sometimes I'm just like, because then I can't be my truest Mark version of myself. But it was cool. And even with that, just like how we knew all the matches outcomes today, even with that, it was still a great show. It was a good men's, but the women killed it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a lot of dead space in that match, like with everybody down several times in that match. I mean, you got your regular spots that running through the chamber. Who's that? Bobby speared.
Logan Paul, KO. Bobby speared him.
Yeah, so I mean, you got that. It was good. I think we all knew Drew was gonna win, which I got a hot take on that a little later, probably. But it was good.
Don't hold the hot takes. Do not hold the hot takes.
Here we
if
go.
It's a hot take. I want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Drew obviously goes to Mania. I think he beat Seth. And because we don't know what his future is with the company, DP's cashing in. I don't like it.
I love it.
I don't like it.
I love it.
But I think that's what's
love
happening.
Love it.
Ooh, unless you
Right
turn
in
Drew,
vein.
don't do that, Rhodesia. I'm getting
Right
excited
in
again.
vein.
Unless you turn Drew face.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be a fan of that finish.
I would love it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not
Give
either,
that to
but
me.
I think that's what. Because I for the life of me, I still don't know who he cashes in on or when if it's not Drew in that moment. Drew gets his moment,
Give it to
and
me.
then boom, DP comes in and fucks it all up.
Okay, so stick with that, and then I'll ask you, E, if say that's the finish they have planned, what could WWE do in the next 41 days to get you as a fan at a point where they don't completely show their hand that Damien's going to cash in, but you can say, all right, they've done enough for Priest that if he does cash in, I'm good with it. What would have to happen?
I'm ready for that one, to be honest with you, man. I just don't see him as a champion.
And that's why I asked you.
He's just not
Same.
world champion material.
But
I
you've been
don't
saying
know.
it for a while.
I don't know what they could do in the next. That's a very short time period. You know, like I think he's a credible wrestler. Right, I think he's somebody who can, challenge for the championship. I just don't see him being able to hold it.
Yep.
I don't think it'd be like EO. I don't think it'd be like that, but I don't know. I can't see a destination that he'll be, in my eyes, credible as a champion.
Oh, you know what you could do? Oh, see, now we got the... All right, Brandon, you started it. Now we got it going. What you could do, which would be fun. Actually, it'd be incredibly fun. Have Priest cash in, but have Priest cash in like Seth cashed in on Brock and Roman during the match. And then make it toward the end and make it a triple threat match. But this time, it doesn't work. And Drew pins Priest. And now that could turn into a Seth Priest feud afterwards. You could do that, and that would work. That gets the briefcase off of him. He still gets to be in the WrestleMania main event. Well, it won't be a main event, because I still think they're doing a tag match. We'll talk about that here. But he'll be in a high profile spot with that, and then Seth doesn't have to get pinned to lose the title, so he can say that part, and et cetera, et cetera.
So if Drew's going to still resign or under contract with WWE, I love that as an outcome. But if he's out, he's going to win that son of a
There's no
bitch.
way he's...
And then DP comes out.
Said, when I'm back, I'm on your head. He ain't going back to AEW. Punk's not, so he's got to be
CM Punk knew he already resigned, huh?
He has to.
But I'm with you, though, man, because I feel like the destination for him is some kind of way he doesn't cash in. Like I don't like whatever that's going to be. I don't see him actually cashing successfully. I think it's going to be an unsuccessful cash in at some point. That's going to cause further friction with Judgment Day. I was about to say the Bloodline for some reason, but the Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm. I think that's good. I think that's good. So then let's talk about. Go ahead.
How often have unsuccessful cash-ins taken place?
Not many. Really sporadic. I mean, I think the last time they gave it the stats, it was like over 80% of people who cash in, are successful.
Gotcha.
So, Cena
the last one was Austin Theory, and Matt hated it. He hated it.
Perfect segue. Are they turning? Are we going to see a turn? Yeah, of Grayson.
I'm gonna say no.
And/or Theory.
I just think Grayson was at home. Grayson was just at home.
But he didn't
No,
help his boy.
they've been teasing for a while though.
They've been teasing.
Yep.
They've been teasing friction for a while.
Grayson put Austin in that match, or vice versa, a couple weeks back on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think so yet.
I think.
But you know what though? Look. If me and Matt are in the ring, and they start putting boots to Matt, and I sit back in my chair and relax.
You take a step back.
Look, Matt not gonna come for me like, bro. He's gonna come for me first, like, right? But it's gonna be a problem. We ain't gonna be cool afterwards. It's donezo. He said, go and have him. He offered it on the plate.
He took a step back. You can't take a step back. Now, it's different from somebody getting jumped and you just like, hey, I'm trying to make sure there's a fair one, opposed to saying, you know what? Y'all have at it, and then I'll talk to him backstage and tell him, like, my bad, dog. So now I'm like, okay, maybe they go Theory, which I think Theory could be a really good face. But that's a feud I would like to see. But before that, they set up, in quotations, a Cody Rhodes versus The Rock one-on-one match between now and Cody's main event match against Roman Reigns.
Which could be
How'd you
night
guys
one.
like the segment?
It was fine.
I guess it was cool. Popping circumstances for Grayson.
Go ahead.
Give us time.
with some internet issues. Over here. Overall, Popping Circumstances was cool. Again, this is Australia. This is his home country. So for me, just overall, I thought that I would like it. I love how Austin Theory kind of started the show. Of their what did he call it? The Austin effect or something like that. And I'm like, hold on, wait. And they booed him. I mean, just from the beginning of the whole promo in the ring, Austin was showing that he was a bad guy. But overall, I thought it was really cool as far as the setting up the possible. I still think it might be a tag match, but talking about Rock and Cody, could this been kind of predictable? Maybe, but again, everything about this show I thought was predictable. But I was enjoyed. I was entertained and enjoyed the whole show.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I like Grayson Waller. I think he's funny. And I think I just have an affinity for heels. So I'm a big fan of Grayson Waller. Excuse me. I think that Cody versus Rock match, that's a big match to have on
It ain't gonna
just
happen,
regular
no.
national TV. I don't know if you do it night one. I mean, that would be kind of crazy. But if you telling the story of Cody overcoming all odds and he somehow beats The Rock, then I guess you pull it off. But in my mind, I was like, they're going to do that in 3 weeks on SmackDown or Raw? That's kind of crazy. But, yeah. And then Seth saying, I got your back, that carrying on that story. Something still seems weird to me about that. I like it. I want to believe Seth, but yeah. Something weird is going to happen between now and then.
Brandon, it's funny you say about you like the heels. I do too. And I'm trying to think of when that became, because I was a big Hogan guy. I was a Ricky Steamboat guy back in the day. I liked the fan favorites, but at some point, I liked the heels. I want to say Lex Luger might have been my first heel guy that I enjoyed. So I think that'd be an interesting conversation down the line. So I'm going to give y'all a wacky fan booking scenario. What if we get Rock and Cody night one? Maybe that's the main event. And Cody loses against The Rock. Right? He goes on to night two and he wins. And then part of the continued friction between the bloodline where Rock and Roman is that, look, I softened the dude up and you still couldn't get it done. We need to go ahead and remove you from the head, and we need to get the big dog in his place. The original big dog.
I don't think that's wacky at all. That may be one of the better ways out of it. I still think they do the tag match.
But wait, how? So you're telling me that Cody will lose to The Rock? Fair?
Fair or unfair?
Okay.
Yeah, that got nothing to do with
fair.
it.
No, fair is terrible. So now you shitting back on Cody, and then I could become a Cody crybaby at that point. But if he doesn't
Nothing
win
the bloodline
fair,
is straight up 100% fair. And then you also can't have Cody beat. You're not going to have Cody beat Rock and Roman within 24 hours of each other back to back either.
no, but
That's
I just
not gonna
don't want Cody
because he
and
doesn't
Rock
need that.
in a singles match at all. If Rock has a single match, it needs to be against Roman Reigns, flat out.
That ain't
But
happening.
it won't be
though,
this
Rhodesia.
year. Yeah, it won't be
ain't
this
happening.
year. Or not at this Mania.
No.
That won't happen.
I thought Roman and Rock could possibly be a slow match. Rock and Cody would be an even slower match. Hot take that.
But so we know Rock was training for a singles match. We know that because of course the plan was Rock Roman. So he could do Roman. He could do Rock Cody. I like that idea actually. I still think the better idea is the tag match night one. And the bloodline wins. Right? I don't know who pins who. Maybe Rock does pin Cody night one. And then you can still go with your story. Well, I beat him. I set him up on a silver platter for you. You still couldn't get the job done night two. So I really, really like that. They absolutely are not doing Rock versus Cody Rhodes on a SmackDown beforehand. I like that's a setup.
What
because
if?
Rock,
Right?
Because Rock and Roman are going to be on SmackDown this Friday. So I think that's where you get what's going to be the actual challenge, right? Or what are they going to say, let's do this at Mania? Or does The Rock accept the challenge and then we still got weeks before and they flip it somehow, some way? But we do know somehow, probably night one, we're going to get the four of them somehow intertwined together at WrestleMania. And that's a win.
They're making commercials with those four, right? You got Cody and Seth walking together. Roman and Rock are next to each other. So it's definitely then Seth is kind of putting himself in this storyline. So it's something's going to happen. I just will find it interesting. I can't think of another huge show like this where you got. No, I know it's 2 nights, but you got at least 2 or 3 of the guys wrestling twice. Right? Because we know we're getting Seth and Drew, right? So we're gonna get Seth and Drew. Dude just came from what was it, ACL, whatever it was, injury. He gonna wrestle 2 nights. So he got Drew, right? It's almost like. Actually, I'm thinking as I go. What if Drew and Seth were like night 2, and maybe Seth got beat up or injured or something in the tag match, and then that's how Drew was able to kind of overcome Seth. But I just never seen a scenario where you had so many guys wrestle multiple times on a big show like this.
Uncharted territory, brother. It was supposed to be Rock Roman. The Cody fans made it known that ain't happening. So now we know this is on the fly. But I think they'll figure it out. And I think Friday's going to tell us a lot, for sure.
You know what I need from Cody? I need
that?
Cody to be a bit more aggressive. And that Grayson Waller effect, I don't know if it was that or another promo where he was like, you know what, Rock, I'm going to hit you back. Like, don't say I'm going to hit you back. Like,
hey, man. No.
Right?
That's not his character.
And on the Grayson Waller effect, he said something like, he didn't say ass, he said A or something. Like, he wouldn't say the curse word. I'm like, what are we doing?
Can it be the accent?
Man, hey, as a Cody fan, sometimes when I listen to his promos, I'm like, damn, he being too nice of a guy a little bit, right? And I'm like, man, I don't want them to start turning on this man. He's one of the hottest wrestlers in the world right now. Like, I need you to play it because there's a lot of eyeballs on him. Like, man, you can't play it too cute and too sweet, man. He can
afford to have an edge.
I'm a big fan of The Rock. Like, no, you're not. Not right now. You're not. Like, maybe next year you could say I'm a big fan, but right now you're not. You hate this man. He smacked you, and you ain't do nothing about it. Actually,
right?
I didn't say it, but let that man. He gonna smack me. It was like Cody's gonna actually even trying to get back at him, get a lick back. If you smack me like that, it was kind of a bitch back too. It was more like the fingertips, like grazed the jibs a little bit. he didn't really get all of it. But just the fact of the matter, you know what I'm saying? I would have went after him. And he's talking about The Rock I'm a big fan of The Rock. Like, no, Cody, no, you're not, man. I want you to get aggressive. Get in this man's ass. We trying to finish the story for the daddies.
You know, Cody's gonna get booed within 6 weeks of his title reign, so he's gonna get booed. So let's do that. But before we leave the chamber, are y'all there for Orton and Logan Paul? Are we gonna see this at Mania? Are we going to see this just on a regular show? What's your thoughts there? Because Orton got to get his get back.
I wrote that down as a note as, are we going to get a triple threat with KO, Randy, and Logan Paul for that belt?
Okay.
How you feel about that, Rhodesia? You like that?
I could be there for that. But I just feel that the KO would have no chance whatsoever. And kind of once again, KO is just the Natalia of the men's division. You got to put on a great match. He watches wrestling, but he's just not going to win.
And Randy sold the shit out of that back injury.
I would too.
I thought he was hurt for real.
With Braxton Hooks.
But no, at one point, I thought something was wrong with the back.
And selling the back.
Yeah, I thought something was wrong with it for a minute.
Yeah,
I did too.
And I just knew it wasn't because the spot that wouldn't have been the case, and I know that he was cleared. But I was like, so then they got to a point where I was like, okay, that's the story thread of this match. It's his back. And they kept going back to it. But that's how you sell. You sell, okay, I'm hurt, and I'm going to continue to be hurt throughout the entire match. Now, yeah, maybe I may get that shot of adrenaline to get my comeback and do that, but I'm still hurt. But we know Orton, everything he does is for a reason. Mm-hmm. It is perfect in the ring. So good for him. He also said, too, like a few days ago, that he feels like he's in the middle of his run. He feels like he's in his prime right now.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy to think because we've been watching this man, it feels like, for like 20 years for him to say that. So then you asked about the triple threat match. I think we get a one-on-one match maybe. That one threw me off, just seeing Orton and Logan Paul. Eternal shot us a message yesterday, and he said,
what a name,
I smell a multi-man ladder match for the United States Championship. Then he put finally, in quotations. The only title that's scratching my head is Gunther. Ain't no way in hell Drew is losing at Mania. I will argue with any of you. Rhea should not lose to Becky. Let's take these really quick, step by step. Multi-man ladder match for the United States Championship. I don't know why you would get that, because I think, just because what we saw at the Chamber, Orton's got to get his get back on Logan Paul. Now, maybe he gets his get back on a random SmackDown. You could do that on a SmackDown between now. But do you guys see a ladder match for the U.S. Championship?
Nope, because we're going to have the Andre the Giant over the top battle rail. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't see a ladder match, but if we get there, I'm here for it.
Rhodesia in these takes today. Cody being booed.
Oh, he is. No, he will.
Andre.
Mark my words.
No, he's not. He's
mark my words.
I will mark it. I'm going to put it on the list of other bad takes that you had.
All right.
The Andre
it won't be 6
thing.
weeks.
And
it
you
won't
want
be 6
E-Pro
weeks,
too. It's gonna
but
be
there
4
will be a
weeks.
segment of fans that will start turning on him. It will. That's just what happens.
Wait, so
especially
you
as a face.
think that everybody's giving this man all this love, and within 6 weeks they gonna turn him back?
Absolutely.
I said,
That means the
I'm
world is a
saying
bunch
yes.
of heels. Then at this
I'm
point,
saying yes. I'm
No,
saying
and it won't be
yes.
6 weeks because
they
I think
are,
6
they
weeks
are making
from
him super faceless. Oh, I'm not beefing with The Rock. Even you said it. Like, but you are. You should be ready to on-site him. That's
Hey,
not going to
but-
sell.
but
Right,
it's
so
loved
6
as he
weeks.
is.
We'll just go on the record. 6 weeks.
but
6
in
weeks,
Cody's,
they'll be in the
Cody's
stadium.
defense, this has been
No,
his
6 weeks after being
character.
a title holder.
This is his character for the past 2 years. He's been playing this guy. He hasn't
Yeah.
gotten even sweeter. He's been playing. This is. I told you, like, man, I was really surprised that this white meat, like, he is a true, like, 70s, 80s, like, baby face, right? Just pure heart, does the best things. He's out there signing posters, kissing baby. Maybe that's what the world needs. Maybe they need a good old-fashioned vanilla baby face. Maybe it's what we've been missing. Maybe it's
If
what the
we-
world needs right now.
If Matt's first 14 tweets that
Cody
he
for
saw
president, I vote
was
for him.
United States people, I'll take the United States back. The first 14 tweets Matt saw talked about how much they hated the Elimination Chamber because they didn't get enough sleep. Don't you think within 6 weeks those same people is going to find a problem with Cody? Like I said, mark my words. I ain't voting him for
after he
2024.
wins is
Oh, no,
the
you're
deserve
a hater.
it.
That's why.
I'm voting that
Yeah.
he's going to get booed in 6 weeks in 2024.
No, I guarantee it won't be 6 weeks. Like I said, 6 months, yes. 6 weeks, it will be
I'll give
the
you 6
You
weeks.
Deserve It tour, where everywhere he goes, he gets the You Deserve It chant.
No, he don't.
They're in a stadium after Mania. I forgot where they're at, but they're somewhere. They're in a stadium outside the United States. So he's not getting booed right afterwards. But what I will say though, and we'll get back to Eternal's question. So we were talking about the whole 4 WrestleMania situation with them. I do think with Cody, we can say now, because remember they're booking this on the fly. So I think now we can officially say The Rock and Cody are not in cahoots, right? From
I'm
Cody's
not saying
promo.
that.
And the reason why I say that, because I would hope they were meticulous. Cody was getting ready to say what that conversation was of why he took a step back from Mania.
And he never alluded
to it. And then Grayson Waller interrupted him.
Yep.
So now, unless Grayson Waller is also in cahoots, he was about to tell us why he stepped to the side. Which then would tell me him and Rock are not currently in cahoots together. So that was probably the biggest thing outside of the $15 million pyro budget that they gave Cody for that show, which was tremendous. Outside of that was probably the biggest thing for me from that segment was like, okay, so now we know that the way they're presenting it is there is no alignment with them two right now.
Those fireworks was really nice, right? We got
Incredible.
that for Cody, we got for Rhea. I'm like, man, the production is really hot. And
those are like Olympic budget fucking fireworks.
Yep.
That was nuts.
For real. Hey, and I'm gonna ask you guys because I couldn't go back and watch that show again. There was something that happened in the show. I don't know if it was a production. It might have been a production piece that I was like, wow, this is WWE at its finest. Did you guys have a feeling at all? Cause I don't know what it was. Was there any moment in the show?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
It was the cameras in the pod. That was tremendous.
Bingo.
The
I
Slim
like that a
Jim
lot too.
entrance that flashed in the middle of the screen. So their place marketing was amazing.
That was a glitch.
Oh, well,
Which is why they pulled it so quick. The Slim Jim thing was on the wrong side.
Even better than their opponents.
Wow, their
Not
opponents. Who was their?
Jeez, what? You telling me your glitch
You are on your
was
hater.
great production?
I like hater Rhodesia though. I like this.
The show started off this way. You press play and record. I wasn't even done getting ready, but
Didn't you tell me 3 minutes beforehand?
I didn't know you pressed
Okay,
play.
so
That's
we're gonna do it.
It's like a fake. That was like a fake. I'm ready. So
Hey,
She
Brandon.
said it
know,
twice.
this is
She
a
did it
fake. I'm
twice,
ready.
though.
You did say it twice,
And there
though.
you go.
But it was fake. You
Thank
didn't
you.
even see me in the screen when I said I
So
was
now,
ready.
so now this is how I feel every time we get ready to go to dinner or something, and we're like, hey, we're leaving at 6:30, and she's like, I'm ready, and it's 6:28, and she's still in the bathroom with like no clothes on. It's like, well, how are you ready? If I was to leave,
I'm ready for you.
now.
I'm ready for you.
Then that's a whole different situation.
Hello,
You
we
can go ahead and
going there.
Making them
We are
clap.
going there.
You can start making them
I'm
noises.
ready.
Nah, I get with that.
Which is why I was like, when Matt started the show, I'm like, when she said it, like, there's no way I'm like, she ain't ready. Like, she done walked by the screen. Oh, and she left the room. Look like, right? So I'm like,
And then you started cutting a promo on me, so I was like, hey, this is perfect timing. Let's let everybody hear you complain about me. So then Gunther, where do you think we get for Gunther for Mania?
No clue right now.
I don't know.
Gotta be Chad, right?
know.
Gotta be then.
There's one other person that it could be besides Chad, and that could be Sami Zayn. So if you had
yeah, I was
to
about
pick,
to
would
say
you want
that.
Chad or would you want Sami Zayn?
Sammy and a squash.
He said that with some conviction.
He sure did.
I don't love Sammy. I don't like the woe is me version of Sammy. When he was a bit more aggressive and funny in the bloodline, a little bit that I caught. I'm not super familiar with Sammy, but the run of like this woe is me,
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I'm okay with Mania because again we want to put on like kind of the biggest matches too. I'm okay with maybe Sammy and Gunther at Mania, but you got to make sure that Chad gets his. So if that means Sammy and Gunther wrestles and Sammy loses, I'm not gonna say get squashed, but loses, then let's start up after Mania, Chad and Gunther.
Yeah, I like that.
I love the way Rhodesia says. I don't know if it's, maybe I'm saying it wrong. When I say Gunther and she says Gunther, like this way she says I just love the way you say it. Who would y'all rather win? If someone were to beat Gunther, Chad or Sammy? Because for me, I kind of felt like when Chad originally challenged for the championship, and he had the family there, like that was a great opportunity, and I think the fans were willing to see a title change at that point. He had the juice at that moment, right? And then after he lost, they kind of was like, all right, man, look, you got a little too hot. We're not ready for that right now. We going to put you in the back for a little bit, but we'll come back to you. Right? So I kind of feel like this might be that moment, but I do understand Sammy, he has kind of a story building right now, but I just feel like I don't know if Sammy can get to the level that I got with Chad by Mania. It's possible. We still got a lot of TV. I actually do really like Sami Zayn. I've always been a fan of his. I think the peak of Sammy was the Bloodline, but I'm here for him doing something with Gunther right now.
I think the match would be incredible. It would be a match of the year candidate.
Which one?
Sammy and Gunther. But this is Chad Gable's title to take off of Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
So are you okay with Chad not wrestling at Mania and then just winning it after it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm good with that. Like I said, man, they got these stadium shows set up all year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You can run that. Like I gotta look and see where they are after Mania, but he can drop it then if you want. Speaking of dropping, the last part of Eternal's thing was he'll argue with any of us that Rhea should not lose to Becky. Before we get to that question, anything from that main event you guys want to talk? All I want to say is all the Nia Jax hate needs to stop. And I've been tweeting, I've been talking about it on this show consistently. She has one of the better second runs I have probably ever seen in wrestling. Because typically, you are what you kind of are. You may add something to your repertoire. Either you can now start cutting a little bit better promo, or you add a couple moves. I'm not going to say she's almost like a completely different worker overall, but no way in the world would Nia Jax ever have main evented a pay-per-view in her first run. And she belonged. I had told Matt while we were watching, as soon as the match started, I said if they wanted to, they could just pull a Hogan Andre on this, and it could be 13 minutes of Nia squashing, Rhea, false comeback, Nia squashing, Rhea gets hot, 1, 2, 3 pin, and the crowd would go crazy. You got the pyro right there, and that's going to go off. Nobody's going to say anything. And they worked a match that would have worked anywhere, not just in Rhea's hometown. They didn't use that as a crutch. And I was proud of both of them because I thought that match was great. I thought that was a great way to finish that show. Anything from that match that you guys want to discuss, or do you guys feel completely different than I do?
Let me address that in a sec. As far as the stadium shows and being out of the country, we have Backlash in France, we have Money in the Bank in Toronto, and we have Bash in Berlin. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to try to pronounce this in French, so I'm not. It's the LDLC Arena. So I guess that's an arena, but it's still in France. You got
is that
Toronto.
Where PSG plays?
Maybe. When is Bash in Berlin? Is that June?
Bash in Berlin is actually August. So we have Backlash France. We have Money in the Bank in July in Toronto, and then Bash in Berlin August 31st.
Ooh, that's where the crown Gunther as world champion.
Yep, and that's the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Germany.
Yep, that's where the yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks
so yeah, I think Nia had, and I'm saying this just because I listened to an interview she did after she had left or was let go of WWE the first time. I think she left, but she had a chip on her shoulder. I think entering WWE, could it be because she was Rock's cousin? I mean, she had that chip. This time around, second time around, I don't feel it. That chip on her shoulder, and I think it allows her to then be just the massive star that she is. I think that's the major difference between the first time and the second time. She doesn't have to prove anything because she is that already. So let that speak for myself.
I think you guys know I have an affinity for Nia. I just think she looks good. But I think historically, from what I've gathered from you guys, is she might have been a bit unsafe in the past, and that's fine. I totally understand why people wouldn't be happy with that. But I don't know if she just does a better job now. But, I mean, she still, in my opinion, looks like loose and kind of aggressive, but maybe in a more controlled manner. Like, it still looks like she's rough and tough with everybody, but I guess maybe in just a much more controlled manner. But she looks great. I'm amazed at how many people take her finisher, like dropping on people's ribs like that. Like, they do a really good job with that, and she looked great. Rhea, I have an affinity for Rhea too. Whatever the little strap she wear, that make her booty
was
poke
jiggling
out
the whole night.
You say keep doing it.
Good.
Say keep doing it.
Keep doing it every week. I'm a fan. So,
Brandon, she know what she said. She said it in the video.
I'm sure
She like,
do.
people love the leg harness, and I understand, no problem.
But it was a fun match. It was a fun match, and kudos to WWE on like kind of building her up and knowing that they were going to be in Perth and giving her her moment. Like I think they do a really good job of considering like the equity that they have with their superstars and their talent or whatever, and giving them moments like this. So I thought it was.
You know what's crazy, Brandon? Before you go, what's crazy during the Vince era, which you kind of skipped after the Attitude era, he would make you lose in your hometown. If you were going to your said hometown, you're getting demeaned, you're getting disrespected, you're losing. It was like that forever.
Crazy.
And now we see the opposite of when you're in your hometown, you should get your flowers and what that does for business. And I understand from a heat perspective. Like, okay, if you're trying to get some heat, hey, let's do it in their hometown. But it was like a thing where, like, you could legit look at the card and, like, oh, they're in Boston tonight. Oh, Sasha's losing the title. And she will lose the title.
That's nuts.
Yep.
It was disgusting, man. You guys know how I felt about Nia Jax, and primarily from her first run, I just didn't like her at all. Her matches, I just didn't care for the character. So when they brought her back, I'm like, oh, they brought that back. I'm like, I don't want to see her on my TV, but she certainly has changed my mind. I mean, you know, her promos. She's very. When I said that there's not a lot of women with purpose in a lot of these big shows, she has purpose. She has character. She has charisma. She looks good. She's gotten herself in really good shape too. You can tell the difference. It's kind of like from week to week that she's making changes to her body. You know, she's still kind of a big girl, but you know, it's all packed right. You know, she looks really good. She's much better in the ring. I want to stop short of saying that she was with Natty in the dungeon. I kind of want to say before she even got back to the company, I think she was wrestling with her. I'm not sure, but she's definitely gotten a lot better.
I saw videos from like her Instagram where she, I believe, was working with Natty, and I saw quite a few videos of her working with Dawkins and another dude in like some kind of dungeon type setup.
So she has been working Natty, and we gotta give Natty her props too, man, because like she might be one up in the performance center, because like she's making some great wrestlers over there, right? Like Jay, we haven't seen her in long matches, right? But she looks a lot better than she ever did. You know, Dawkins, we see an improvement from him. And then Nia Jax too. Like these people go down to Natty, man, and Natty turn these people into some workers. So kudos to her. But yeah, I'm here for Nia Jax. Good match. The answer Internal's question, hell no. Like Becky can't get that straight. Like the man's will come around to Memphis City, whatever it is. Like I don't want to see that as no champion. Like she's a good challenger. You know, take that 3-second tan and let Rhea hold that title up high at Mania. No way that she wins that.
So E has Rhea going a year plus with the title. Rhodesia, is there any way that Becky should beat Rhea?
Yeah, I think so. Just because even though I'm not the biggest Becky fan, again, there's just no denying when she comes out the star power that she draws. So yeah, I can see that. And I feel satisfied, just like how and I know E didn't, maybe, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but when Bianca dropped her title, I'm like, okay, it was time. You've had it for over a year now. Like, I'm okay with Rhea dropping it now. She had a great run. As far as she didn't have that many title defenses, but just overall, her aura, her presence, she had a great reign. So it's time. I'm okay with it.
Brandon?
I would like Rhea to retain. Becky's great in her own right. I know she's built up a huge following. She doesn't really do it for me. I'm hot and cold on her. I think she's good. I know she has a great history. I don't like her on the mic, but I totally get like what she draws and brings to the company. So I support her, but yeah, I think I would rather see Rhea retain. I don't know who I want to see take it off of Rhea, but
so that's
cool
the
with
question. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I'm okay with Becky
right
taking
there.
it.
So okay, if you go past Mania and you don't put it on Becky, which 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I mean, I've said since last year, you guys can go back and listen to the show, this was going to be the match at this year's Mania. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect time for Becky to take the title off of Rhea. Rhea would have had it for a year, then Rhea can move on. There's still some legs to Rhea's title reign. But if you skip over Becky, and then I think if Becky loses and you don't go back to an immediate rematch, Becky probably should turn heel. There's nothing more for Becky to do as a face without the title. Mm-hmm. Then who is next up for Rhea? So now you got to kind of think through, okay, well, if we keep it on her at Mania, then does she keep it until SummerSlam? Does she keep it until, like, where does she, and then who is it for? Does she keep it until Tiffany's on SmackDown? Does she try to keep it until Jade is ready for it? I can't think of anybody else who's on Raw right now that you will look at currently and say, yeah, she's next up to take that title off of Rhea. So that's the question they're going to have to answer if they don't flip the titles here in like 42 days or whatever it is.
We got the brand splits coming up shortly after Mania, usually, right?
Yeah,
so then we can get Bianca, and we can finally have that Bianca and Rhea feud. I don't think we've had it on the main roster yet.
Not the way we want it.
Not the way we want it.
Oh, no, you got Naomi. Oh, no, Naomi's on SmackDown, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we got the brand split coming, so they can kind of shuffle some women around to give her some new challenges. This is why, like as you said, I think there's still some legs, and I think there's another second life to her as champion to when she eventually turns full-fledged baby.
Man, but isn't she now, though?
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, we know by her actions she's not.
Full-fledged,
But is there anybody who is watching, and we can get off Elimination Chamber, I got a few more things I want to talk about. But is there anybody watching WWE that does not like Rhea Ripley because she's with Judgment Day or because she's a cheater? I think I haven't met one person who doesn't like Rhea. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, presentation-wise, we know she's a heel. But with her and Becky, that's going to be like Hogan Warrior at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. That crowd's going to be split 50-50 down the middle, which is fun, which is really, really fun. I asked this question, and he already gave his answer. I said, hold off, and he was so disgusted by the question, Brandon, that he gave his answer. So you can either lay out, you can add more context. I asked last pod, Brandon, and I said I was going to bring it up. So let's say Roman loses the title at Mania. Or let's say he loses the title at Survivor Series. And then we go with what I talked about weeks and weeks and weeks ago, right? In New York City, blah, blah, blah. Loses to Cody. For the run that Roman has had, do you think Roman Reigns deserves a standing ovation moment when he loses the title? And by that, I mean on camera. So Cody gets his pyro. Cody does the whole thing. Camera stays with Cody. Then we shoot back to the ring. Roman does the whole stand-up thing. We get the stand ovation. We get the thank you, Roman, whatever that is. Do you think he deserves it? And do you think we get that?
You see my one-up? I most certainly do. I mean, it's been a heck of a run. Whether you hate Roman or love him, it's been an incredible run. I don't think we ever get a run like this again in our modern kind of day wrestling. He was deemed a dude. They put the rocket ship on his back and they shot him up to the sky. Regardless, I missed like the first year and a half, 2 years of his run. But regardless of if he's been part-time for the last 18 months or so, I think it's been a heck of a run. To be able to carry the company on his back, to be able to carry probably one of their best storylines ever, if not top 2, 3 maybe, heck yeah, he deserves that. Going back to the Grayson Waller effect when he mentioned the bloodline, it was that entire section had his hands up behind him. So heck yeah, I definitely think he deserves it. I think it would be a great opportunity for them to kind of bid a farewell to that era if he does lose. Heck yeah, I would support that 100%. Fade to black with him standing there and you deserve it or thank you Roman type of deal.
The Wrestling Company Wars, when I think of it, because that's what I'm going to call it. They had Monday Night Wars, Wednesday Night Wars. The Wrestling Company Wars, Roman and the Bloodline checkmated it. Mm-hmm. Roman and the Bloodline, I'm going to say solely, but as far as what we saw as a production on TV, took wrestling to a whole nother level. They absolutely need to give Roman his flowers in the ring. Like Brandon said, fade to black. I don't want to see him for a while after that happens, which I don't think I would see him anyways if he won or lost. But give him give him that, send him off, and he does. He absolutely deserves it.
I think that
Wrong.
I was saying,
Wrong.
Why that is wrong. Because there is a valid reason why you could say that's wrong. So give us your reason.
Because this is all about the video game. Finishing your story. We're not finished. We're finishing Cody's story. We're not finishing Roman Reigns' fucking story. It's wrong. Like, get his ass out of the ring, off the fuck. Fade to black with him, with Roman Reigns. No, you're fading to black with me and Cody and Brandy and the kids. You know, cheering Cody on.
The dog
Fade to
out
black
there
with
too.
Roman. Get his ass out of that ring, out of that arena. I don't want to see his ass at no point after that. After he takes that tan, get him out of there. You guys can go online.
That's valid.
And you guys can cheer him all you want. Send your videos, get your kids, and you guys can just, send a heartfelt, thank you to Roman, right? Because this man has a whole heel-ass storyline. He got to finish it with Rock first. So that's a whole nother storyline. Because y'all gonna turn this man face before that story even prompts it just yet. So let's celebrate Cody. Right, and we can get to Roman and all the other stuff another time.
If this was Vince days, I get it 100%. But we know Triple H, even just at NXT, he allowed that pulling down the fourth wall or the curtain. He allowed that even down. I even go back to when they had the first Iron Woman match, or they call it Iron Man match, and how they both got flowers and a standing ovation. And I think Sasha was a heel at the time. This Triple H version of WWE, I can see that happening. I believe he deserves it. But if this was Vince's time, absolutely. Roman would not have got anything on TV. Maybe if you were live at Mania, you would get that. But definitely not on TV.
And that's why I said on TV. The difference, Rhodesia, though, with that in comparison to the great examples you just gave, you weren't crowning Bayley or Sasha as the company. Mm-hmm. When Cody takes the title, this is now Cody's company. He is the guy. There is no one A and then a 1B. It's going to be Cody's company. So that would be the argument of why not to do it. So, I mean, he definitely has credence there. The reason why, I'm a massive Roman fan. The reason why I would want it, though, is because of what Brandon said. We probably won't see a title run like this again in our lifetime anyway, in regards to how long somebody's held the title. And I would like for him to be able to feel that energy at that moment. But that could take away from this is Cody's moment. Yeah. So it'd be fun to see.
Because Matt and Brandon, you remember, this is before, I don't think Rhodesia was born, but Hawk
hey, how old do you think I am? I just want to ask, how old do you think I am?
It's like 32 or something like that?
No, I'm not, but okay. Go ahead. Finish your story.
But, Hawk and Hogan. No, it's Hawk and Hogan. Mm-hmm. Hawk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, right?
Hawk and Hogan.
Mm-hmm. We're passing the torch to Ultimate Warrior. Hawk Hogan in the ring, pointing to God, you know what I'm saying? And the camera is panned off to him. And then Warrior wasn't the same sense, right? We still was talking about Hogan. We want to talk about the Warrior. We need to get that man out that arena. Get his ass going. Yeah.
Speaking of Hogan.
No.
Give me 30 seconds. And I just need...
Oh, wow, I wasn't ready for that.
I give you this. After
I
give you
this, up for that.
I want to talk about Dynamite, because we did a good job of poking holes into Sting and Darby's story. They fixed it. We got to give them props for that. And then I want to ask Brandon a couple of Revolution thoughts. We'll give our entire Revolution preview on Wednesday's podcast. That show's already this weekend. But give me 30 seconds, and I just need you guys to say... yes, this is true.
It's a no.
Or no.
It's a no. It's Hogan. No.
I know
Hey, listen to this. Hogan said, well, it's a logical extension of where I should go with my career, Hogan said. Because once the wrestling took off and the character Hulk Hogan became as big as the wrestling business at the time, people were reaching out to me, to do other projects. Commercials, Super Bowl commercials, Right Guard commercials, all kind of stuff. And the movies were a logical extension. So Vince McMahon and I sat down and basically spent 3 days over a beach writing No Holds Barred. And then we brought a writer in that had to clean it up and pretty much got all the credit for it. Because we didn't know anything about writing or the Screen Actors Guild or the Writers Guild. We didn't know anything. We hired a writer to clean it up. We didn't know he was going to own it, which didn't matter. But once I made that film and it was successful, New Line Cinema wanted me to make more films. And the problem I had with it was I loved wrestling so much. I was in the prime of my career. It wasn't like I was on the downside and was picking up extra work or trying to get out of the wrestling business to become an actor. I was in. I was world heavyweight champion. Hulkamania running wild. I was in front of 20, 30,000 people every night. Now, you want me to go sit in a Winnebago at the side of the Sony soundstage for 14 hours, and you might call me at 5 o'clock to get in front of cameras for 5 minutes? The process killed me. I mean, there's an art form to it. They're really good actors, understanding timing and exactly when to ramp up and everything from the lighting to the camera placement to the cadence, everything. They understand it once they get in front of the camera. But for me, I was ready to jump off a cliff waiting for 12 hours for them just to use me. And they may use me for the first thing in the morning, get in the makeup trailer at 5:30 in the morning. I may do my first shot and then say, well, hold on. Hang on. We're not sure if we're going to need you for the rest of the day. So after lunch was over, no, you need to hang out. So I would just sit there for 12 hours. And then they would only use me for 4 or 5 minutes in the morning, so the process was hard. I was always wanting to go back to wrestling, and I did. But I kept bouncing back and forth, making little small budget movies for kids and having fun with that, and shoot them in 25 to 30 days and running back to the wrestling business. And I had the chance to become the next John Wayne. There's a guy called Bob Evans that ran Paramount. He took me to his office, and there was a big picture on the wall with Clint Eastwood and John Wayne and all the big stars, Dustin Hoffman, and everybody that was a part of the contract players for Paramount at the time. And he said,
Dustin Hoffman,
you're going to be the next John Wayne. And then he kind of laid out the schedule and what was expected of me on and off camera. I went, I'm the wrong guy for that stuff. So I just decided to go back to wrestling.
Are we done?
But
Because
he
it sounded like
was
he had a
breakfast.
writer. It sounded like
He
he had a
would
writer
eat
right there.
breakfast when he did that interview, because ain't nobody named Bob Evans running those studios.
I know, right?
Like, full of lies.
Stop
Like,
pancakes.
are we questioning that he actually wrote it? Are we actually questioning that this whole story was even true? I mean,
Question is, do you think he was told that he could be the next John Wayne and Clint Eastwood in the movie business?
No.
yes. I give him that. I could say yes. Because
First of
he's
all,
reaching.
has anybody been the next John Wayne? No.
But-
I do think at that period of time, he was probably sought after for movies. Mm-hmm. Because,
big-time name.
that's kind of how Hollywood works. You get a big name, you put him in any and everything you can to sell a script. But that part is what's confusing, is if he was only being used for 4 or 5 minutes, that means he wasn't the star of said movie set he was working on. So, I don't know. There's holes in that story for sure. And him and
That was
Vince
just
are
a
not
long
right.
If
ass
this was
story.
anybody other than
Yeah.
if this is anybody other than racist ass Hulk Hogan, I might say it's probably can happen, right? Because in sports, in anything, you're always looking for the next something, like right.
Yep.
The next Mike. We've been looking for the next Michael Jordan for 50 years, right?
We found him, man. His name is LeBron James.
And he surpassed Michael Jackson.
No,
Wasn't
we found him. His name
Jackson
was Harold Miner.
Hilarious.
But so like I kind of get that, and as Brandon said,
Tell him
like,
we'll be out in 15 minutes.
and as Brandon said, like that no hard bar. I think we talked about it on another podcast a long time ago. I didn't know that the ratings or reviews for that movie were bad, because I remember as a kid I loved it. I thought it was great. Like, right? I thought it was great. So I can see as a kid who loved Hulk Hogan, I could have watched like 20 more Hulk Hogan movies like that. So maybe he was.
So, if the only movie Hulk Hogan would have ever done was No Holds Barred, I would say I think this is true. I think Hogan forgot we all saw Thunder in Paradise. We all saw Mr. Nanny. Hogan, you were not going to be the next John Wayne. But I thought it was fun. Every 90 days or so, Hogan pops out and gives us a story. And granted, this one wasn't as good as he wrestled in the same day in 2 different spots and all that. This was pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's move over real quick to Dynamite. I thought Dynamite was a hell of a show on Wednesday. And as I said, I pride this show and ourselves on giving it up when we need to give it up, positive or negatively. And we did a really good job of breaking down why that Darby Allin Young Bucks segment did not work on that previous Dynamite. We don't have to play the audio of it. Please go out of your way if you have not seen that Sting promo and Darby Allin promo from Dynamite. And it was one, of course, it hit me in a particular way because Sting talked about how he just lost his dad 7 days ago in the promo. Of course, I just lost my dad, almost 7 days ago. So that you take that and it's like, yes, I got an emotional connection to that. But what I really had a emotional connection to was they made it real. And I talk a lot about emotional investment in AEW and how that's missing. They can do the best matches in the world, but when you don't tell the proper stories and you don't get us invested into the wrestlers and the characters, we like them because we like them. Oh, they seem like they're cool people, or we may know them. Oh, they are cool people. But what is presented in front of us with our own eyes, a lot of times is missing the emotional investment. And if you watch Dynamite, Danny Garcia, that promo, you can argue and say that was the best promo of his life with Christian. Wardlow, that was absolutely Wardlow's best promo in his career. Sting and Darby piece, I loved it. Brandon, I know you said you didn't get a chance to see Dynamite. Rhodesia and E, give me your thoughts on kind of just what I talked about, the Sting and Darby piece, and just the when you watch that show, it's like, okay, they're starting, if they're on this path, because we've done this before too, where you get a show, you're like, uh-oh, they kind of figured it out, and then you see them pull back, and then it's just wrestle heavy, and one show doesn't make sense to another show. What'd you guys think of those elements from Dynamite?
You have to consider the source with someone like Sting. You hit the whole emotional attachment connection. He's been doing this for a very long time. He's a veteran at this, so he does it right. What did surprise me was your Daniel Garcia. Granted, again, he's going against Christian, somebody else who's a veteran who knows this, and we know Christian is probably the best talker we've seen on the mic, heel, top 1-2 in years. What surprised me was Wardlow, and I think that just truly came from frustration. I'm effing tired of this. I'm an effing monster, and maybe I don't like the way I booked, and he came out with that passion. So for me, I absolutely loved how Dynamite was able to take a snapshot and show this for the world, so we'll be able to see this true passion. If they can click on this cylinder more shows than not, man, again, it can only go up for them. You got Sting, you got Christian, who are veterans. They're going to always do that. But somebody like a Daniel, somebody like a Wardlow, if we can get this out of them, AEW's moving back up again.
Yeah, very good. Sting's phenomenal, as you knew he would be. You know, Sting has really turned into a great talker, and of course he has some emotion he can put into the promo that that really puts it over the top. Wardlow, as Rhodesia said, I was surprised by Wardlow's promo, because he does see, again, his promo was about almost 5 minutes, and so he went out there for 5 minutes and did a great job. Now for me, with Wardlow, is the follow-up.
Of course.
Wardlow does some good stuff in the ring, out of the ring, whatever it is, and it's just not the follow-up isn't there. It's the continuation. It's what they do next week. Same thing with Sting and Darby. I guess, I didn't know about Sting's personal issues, but, last week they could have just cut Darby segment, right? So it's just about what they do going forward to follow up on these, nice moments, right? And it doesn't have to be anything big or major. It has to just make logical sense for the story. They don't have to get too fancy or too sweet. Logical conclusions to the next thing. So I'm excited to see what they do, because the wrestling has definitely been there. I actually kind of like the setup of the overall show, so I think it's good stuff.
And the way they tell their stories is a little bit different than WWE, right? Because, if you look at that Darby and Sting, it was all about everything that happened outside of the ring until you guys jumped me. It was the family piece. You beat up my family, and those are my boys. Man, I'm about to retire. Time waits for no man, and I know that because my dad just passed away 7 days ago. I'm on the clock. And you guys do that. It was just so great. You're not going to get that kind of storytelling in WWE. And then the Garcia part was fantastic. It was more of, man, y'all still have my back when I was nothing. I appreciate that. It was just so much. Yeah, I loved it. And then the production, it was probably their best night of production, I think, overall. That Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm split screen of color and black and white was ridiculous. Bravo to whoever thought about that. And then they did it again in the ring. I love that. Of course, the Hook emblem, like Batman, they're you hope they're starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
And with their talent, this can be a situation where they are what they are. So, Brandon, I know you aren't a big AEW fan. You'll watch it. You casually will watch it. Do you plan on watching Revolution this Sunday?
I'll watch Revolution. Yep, I'll definitely watch Revolution. And before you segue, though, what this all sounds like to me is TK's listened to both you and your new buddy and friend of the pod, O'Shea Jr.
Oh, you know what it is. Shout out to O'Shea. Shout out to my guy. He getting hate, but we there. We gonna make sure 2024 is the biggest year for the pod with
So
special
far.
guests and all that kind of stuff.
So far.
Yes.
So far.
I want to go over just real quick this card. We're going to do our preview, of course, on Wednesday. But listen to this card and then tell me, just Brandon, from your perspective, how does this compare to the other pay-per-views you've seen? So we know we got Sting's last match, right? Sting and Darby versus the Bucks for the AEW Tag Team titles. We got Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve for the AEW World Championship Triple Threat match. Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm, AEW Women's match, titles match. Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong, International Championship. Continental Crown Championship, Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. Will Ospreay making his official AEW contracted debut against Takeshita. Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. FTR versus Jon Moxley and Claudio. And then they got the Meat Madness match with Wardlow, Lance Archer, and Powerhouse Hobbs.
It sounds like a great lineup, and it sounds like they've got every top star that they should have on that card. Obviously, I'm not super familiar with all of their talent, but I know every one of those guys, and I think every match will be a banger based on its current lineup. This is Deonna Purrazzo's first big match there, right? Since she's been signed, so that'll be dope, and I like her. Obviously, want to see this Sting thing unfold. I think that'll be dope, and perhaps this is where we get to see Swerve get crowned champion. So I think it should be a good card. I'll watch for sure, just so I can be in the loop and be able to, chime in with you guys via our chat. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'll definitely watch. I remember AEW pay-per-views though are 4 and 5 hours long, but I'll be on board for sure.
And when you look at this card, no MJF, no Kenny Omega, no Mercedes Moné, no Kushida Okada. Think about that. This is who they are, right? This is not like, oh man, there was just an influx of talent that came in 30 days ago and, oh, this is a cheat code. All right, well, let's see what their talent looks like down the line. No, this is for the foreseeable future, what they have and what they could be. So I know there's a lot of times we complain about AEW in this podcast, and it's not just from a strict perspective of we just hate the product. No, we see what they can be. And when they do things the right way, what it can be. And I know I'm not in the minority. I know we aren't in the minority because I just say, look at attendance. I've been around for WWE when the entire hard cam side was nobody there. Nobody. First level, nobody. Second level, nobody. Third level. I remember those days, and the product showed as such. We are now in that moment right now for AEW. The majority of these shows, I think, this past Wednesday, another 2,600, out of a 9,000 seat venue. The people are telling you, but they're there. You can continue to do what we saw on Wednesday, put these shows together and make us feel and care. They'll be back to having 7,000, 8,000 people in these arenas every week.
Yeah. The match that's most interesting to me on that card, though, is Will Ospreay and Takeshita. I don't know a whole lot about Takeshita, but I know enough to know he's probably not been used or had the best matches that he could possibly have, and he'll probably do that with Will Ospreay.
Well, I'm huge on. I think he's somebody you actually can have the company centered around. That's how big I am on Takeshita. But he's losing against Ospreay. Ospreay's not losing his first match, but we'll get that on Wednesday. We were getting that on Wednesday. Brandon, happy birthday again, my good man.
Birthday.
Thank you.
Do something crazy today.
Oh, I definitely am. Nah, it'll be a lazy day for sure. It'll be chill.
Well,
Thank
enjoy,
you guys.
brother.
This was fun. I
Of
love
course.
you guys. Thank you for having
Love
me.
you.
Love you
And
too, brother.
you'll be back, of course, on WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2. We will be doing our live post shows in just whatever they said, 42 days, 41 days, whatever that is. But of course, we got more goodness for you up until that point. I didn't hit the socials. Follow us on X. That's FNW. We're also on Instagram. We're also figuring out our TikTok. So we'll be there soon in probably the next week or so. YouTube, that's Freakin Wrestling. We are there, and you guys know. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a family member. 5 stars, comments, all that kind of good stuff. I do want to hear from you guys, though. We talked about a lot of good stuff on here. You can talk about anything. But I do want to hear, what do you guys think about the Roman Reigns piece? Should he get a stand ovation when he does drop the title, either at WrestleMania or whenever that is? Using the same thing we talked about. It's going to Cody. Cody's being crowned as the next person. Do you still give Roman that respect on camera? I would love to hear that. And of course, he has the board.
Cody
has
crybaby.
for the last hour and 20 minutes. He decides to use it one time, and that's to boo Roman Reigns. I swear, if Cody Rhodes loses night 2 against Roman Reigns, oh my God. Well, this
He's not
podcast
our friend anymore.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this podcast will be the most entertaining podcast you have ever heard, if that happens. Love you so much. All right, guys. We out of here. We will talk to you on Wednesday.
Bye.